just loving that the crowds are back, and like every time it cuts to a crowd shot, someone's there with an iPad and they've prepared like a presentation of all the funny gifs that they have of LPL players.
Yeah.
It's like Doobie's not even here today. Like, I love it. I love it. Moakai, we've got an Elise to answer alongside a Varus, which Varus really hasn't seen that much play in the LPL. Like, especially if you directly compare to the LCK, they're loving it over there. It's not been the same level of priority, I think.
And, you know, I feel like we're still seeing it step up more and more, right? We did just come back from our break to where it feels like it's been a higher presence. Also love Beichuan going towards the Elise. Back on his time as an FPX jungler, we thought of him as like this guy who plays a lot of AP champions. Things like the Karthus were one of his bread and butter mainstays. But on the opposite side, IG wanting to get a strong top lane option very early on with this Jayce. Technically could be a flex. We've seen it in the mid lane, but I think that'd only be brought out if for whatever reason TT decided to go with a casted and blind pick, which now that you have an Elise in the jungle isn't something I'd really expect to see. So should go up towards that top side and going to round out and make sure you don't get pinched down in that AD carry pool. So for the side of IG, I feel like the comp still has some wiggle room in terms of like identity it can pan out with. And TT actually being the ones to bring in a bit of spice today.
Tristana locked in. You'd assume for the mid lane at this point, unless it's, I don't know, Varus support. There's been all kinds of wacky support picks going on around the world. Who knows? I would anticipate that would be Ucal taking the Tristana in the mid lane though. And we'll see where IG will pivot from here. Like, because the Jayce could go mid lane, the Jayce could still go top lane. Azir being banned away. I mean, what's your take on this, Larry?
I mean, it's going to be... I don't really have a take until we know where it's going.
Yeah.
You're just blind picking like a soul lane Tristana.
I meant like, what's your take on what you think the game plan is? Like, where do you think it's going? Where do you think the Jayce ends up? Or is that just we lack critical information?
Look, Jayce should end up in the top lane. Tristana, like you said, I would expect it to maybe end up in a soul lane, but I think blind pick is just so strange. Still going to see where it goes. For TT, their composition so far looks very snowbally, though. Yeah. I mean, having just incredibly bursty, I'd say early game-centric champions. Like, sure, both Tristana and Elise damage in the late game is still huge, but you have a very squishy composition coming out so far from the side of TT, so you definitely want to short up with some semblance of a front line coming through, but I don't really know where you're looking and what combos you can bring out, especially with this Elise Renekton off the table for that top side. You don't have things like Jax or Cassante, which are like other extremely potent top lane options.
Yeah. I mean, could you go towards something like maybe the Gnar that we've not really seen that much in LPL, but in LCK, it's still one of the more prioritized top laners. I mean, Sion would certainly give you tankiness, that's for sure. That would definitely tick that box.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be able to survive the onslaught up against the Jayce. You're going to farm just fine, be able to walk into those team fights no problem. And yeah, up until later in the game, right, you're looking at On to be the one who's going to be able to shut Hoya down, but not having anything else thus far. IG, though, should be looking at a mid lane option right now. We do still have things like the Ryze up if they wanted to opt to play like towards the top half of the map with that coming through. If they're looking at, you know, things like the Tristana going into that lane, you can even pick like a more aggressive AD option if they wanted, now that they have both Heimer and Moakai to be the ones bringing the AP damage onto the Rift.
Yeah, with that combo as well, Heimer and Moakai, that's so annoying to play into. Saplings in every brush, turrets all over the place. It will be the Ryze by the looks of things to finish this composition off. So a little bit more AP damage, but with a Sivir and a Jayce, I don't think you're too worried about. You don't necessarily want to over-index in the AD either. So it will be Dove bringing that Ryze to the table. And now we'll finally find out where this Tristana is going, where this Varus is going. And I'm assuming it's Varus AD carry, and then whatever lost... Maybe not. I mean, I'm lost. There's 380 carries on TT. How do you break this down?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very interested to see where these all end up. We've already had a Varus support so far in the LPL. We've obviously had Jhin support over in the LCK a few times, and I would expect maybe that's what they're going to pan out with, especially since I feel like the later the game goes, Varus is someone who will put out more DPS than Jhin will later on in the game, so you can just rely on him for things like the curtain call or the early pressure in lane to be able to play out through that bot side. But I love it. TT have what looks like should be such an aggressive composition in the early game.
And I'm excited to see what on earth TT are going to be able to do with it. We're onto the Rift though. TT versus IG Lyric. Let's talk big picture. How are we expecting this early game to pan out? Because we have so many wacky champions on the Rift, I really don't know where to start.
For TT, like I said, it should be very, I think, mid-bot focused. You have such like strong presence coming out with the Jhin Varus in this bottom lane if you can get them ahead. We can already see them hoping to angle for level 1 if the members of IG did overstep, but they did not. And then once we get to the level 2, even like level 3 point for Tristana, Ucal's going to start looking for those opportunities to jump on Dove. But Dove did come in taking the exhaust, so should be able to handle it quite nicely.
Yeah.
Also want to point out that even though this is our first Tristana mid in the LPL, I do believe it was Perks who pulled it out in the LEC, you know, 1.5 weeks ago. So is something that has been played globally. I don't believe it was blind picked in that game like it was here.
Yeah, that's the weird thing to me about this pick, right, is because Tristana mid has been played historically in League of Legends.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a new idea, but it's usually played as a counter pick. Like you said, things like the Kassadin just get annihilated by this pick. A lot of the majors can struggle when Tristana can, like you say, just all in at level 3. But it's new to the season at very least, and as you say, we've seen it in LEC, yet to see it in the LPL. Aggressive trades at the bottom side so far. Jhin might struggle a little bit with these towers, just because if you run out of ammunition at the wrong time, you might just get railed by the little turret.
Yeah, it could be rough. I mean, you're going to be relying a lot on things like your Q to be able to take those down and play out through the wave. But I think a lot's going to come down to Wink spacing them out properly as well to make sure that, you know, a bunch of your turrets don't just go down to like a stray Varus arrow followed by the bouncing grenade coming out from Yao Yao. And it is quite the introduction of, I guess, reintroduction of Yao Yao back into the LPL to come in swinging with this Jhin online. Also, even though TT do have like the triple AD carry composition, it's not like IG are all that tanky. They're actually not tanky at all, considering that we pretty much see Moakai go full AP builds these days. So even your lack of mix of damage really shouldn't mean too much.
Oh, Beichuan just flashes straight over the Dragon Pit. Absolute cojones on this guy. Wink the target. Cocoon goes wide though and onto Arn, but he's still rooted. That should still be a kill. Arn trying to get out towards the top side. Maokai's there. Beichuan repels over to a ward. The auto, the red buff isn't enough. Arn with a pot will survive.
And it's one of those ganks where TT, they wanted everything. You see Beichuan going straight for Wink to where the other members are following on. Had Beichuan been going for On from the start, could have definitely been a kill. If he angled the Cocoon for a Wink, maybe that one would have been easier to land. It feels like there were definitely options there for TT to be able to pick up a kill in that gank, but we'll see exactly how it's done. I love movements like this.
I love it.
Flashing over terrain to get the unexpected gank paths. We will see him throw out the Cocoon, go slightly wide. That's what I'm talking about. Beichuan wanting to go for Wink. Does end up getting the flash, but not going to be able to guarantee yourselves the kill. Does still have the E, but how do you have something like the flash available, right? On would it just go down there? You'll still take trading, you know, your one jungler's flash for all summoners coming out from the IG bot lane. Looks like Yao Yao did have to burn his as well, though.
Yeah, so all things considered, complete carnage on the bottom side. But like you say, all 4 summoners gone now for IG, so perhaps a window of opportunity for TT as Beichuan back on the top side, starting his chickens once again. And at this point, could go towards his Krugs, or could just path back down again and try towards that bottom side. Nice little lead from Hoya to stop the recall. Get a bit of extra damage on YSKM.
I also like how it seems like we had some sort of shenanigans in the mid lane. Because if you look at Summoner's, Dove's exhaust has already been blown for quite a while. So Ucal probably going for that all-in earlier on. Has already TP'd back to lane as well. So those are, that Summoner spell would be the thing I would be looking at for maybe Beichuan not spending as much time around mid and looking towards bot, because you'd have to invest some sort of all-in or gank first to get that out. With that now down, you would definitely have the damage available to go for this. But IG've done a great job of keeping up wards, pretty much all around mid lane to keep Dove safe.
Absolutely. And you'd assume as well that Ucal's little all-in that forced that exhaust, probably around when we saw Gideon on the ward on chickens starts to move down towards the bottom side. That's your window, right, for you. Because you definitely win the 1v1. Speaking of which, Dove takes a chunk, but actually not too much damage coming out from Ucal just yet. Needs to get some more items before he can fully just one-shot Ryze.
Still going to do a nice job of forcing Dove out of lane. I mean, very low on mana. He did opt into staying. Ucal doesn't mind keeping a bit of health for that. Isn't able to spot him out in the end to keep him around, but now both junglers on the bottom side of the map.
And this is one of the things about Tristana that I think a lot of people underestimate, is it's not just about whether or not you can kill the enemy mid laner, it's the amount of pressure. And like, if you force them out of lane, that's an opportunity for Dragon.
100%. You can see now Ucal hovering over. It looks like they're going to have to make TT's bot lane walk all the way around, though. And if that's the case, it means, as we're seeing, TT can't start up this Dragon. Nice job by them. Have Gideon lean down towards that bot side, cuts off the path of entry. And, yeah, it means IG going to be able to deal with this just fine.
Yeah, they will stop it in its tracks. I don't think they're necessarily confident enough to start it up themselves right now. But with the priority on the bottom side, it makes it very difficult for Huanfeng and Yao Yao to get involved in the scrap. Gideon moving in, Dove heading over as well with that level 6, so can join a play, but a good little smite from Beichuan does secure the ground for himself.
IG doing a nice job of using their window. They saw, I'm going to pause, Hoya making his way over. Hoya has his ultimate online as well. If Dove showed in mid lane, they'd be able to go for something, but Dove does have his flash, so any play shouldn't exactly result in a kill.
I feel like this game so far has just been on tenterhooks. It's 0-0, but there have been so many almost kills, like the play and bot, the all-ins from Ucal in the mid lane, and now tiptoeing around this Dragon. Everyone really wants to kick this one off.
I just want to say, TT so far have done a great job of keeping this even. Like, you should know me. He's pretty much been neutralized so far. Hoya doing a great job on the Sion, making sure he isn't finding the lead. If TT can come in after IG beats teams like EDG, RNG, it'd be the ones to dethrone IG. That would be massive. And showing us maybe the way of doing it is with these tank top laners that it's very hard to find these crazy outplays on that we've seen You Should Know Me doing so consistently.
I mean, it's down to that, like you say, the Sion kind of neutralizing the Jayce, but also Ucal on this Tristana, the aggressive pick, neutralizes what Dove can do. It's really difficult to roam on a Ryze if there's the threat of Tristana jumping at you every time you press R. So it's so far a pretty smart draft from TT. And like you say, I mean, IG on a massive win streak, taking some big names down. TT coming in without a win on the board just yet, but looking good in the early game. Clearly, they've been working hard behind the scenes to be ready for today.
Drafting for this early game so far, they haven't been able to accrue, a huge lead, which is definitely what they're looking for with this draft. But I mean, even as the game goes on, right, you are going to be the composition that has this massive frontliner. You're going to have a ton of DPS. You're going to have burst. A lot of your boxes are going to be still going to be checked.
Herald up on the map. We've seen a reasonable amount of bot lane swapping up for Heralds in the LPL, but looks like today it's just going to be Ucal and Beichuan two-manning the objective. I say that Yao Yao is sort of moved up. He's moved up to mid lane to catch the wave while the mid laner goes up to the Herald. So, a bit of a different lane swap.
I mean, I like how TT are playing it. You aren't losing waves in mid. You have Huanfeng staying down in bot lane, so you're not losing any experience or gold there. And, I mean, when you're running a marksman in the support role, Yao Yao probably even happy to get whatever experience and gold that he's able to get his hands on.
Yeah, Ucal going to be looking for that tower plate. Dove really wants to go up to the top side. He doesn't have a whole lot of mana, and Beichuan now starting to dive off. Elise can happily tank the tower as well. He has that repel available. Ignite is there. There's the repel coming out. Beichuan plunges out from the tower. Dove now wants to punish, but look at his mana bar. Really won't have much damage in the tank. Knocked up by Hoya. There's a Cocoon to follow. There's an E to follow as well. And Dove just stuck in the mid lane, battered by minions.
Beautiful CC chain coming out from the members of TT to make sure that they get out for free. Ucal now going to be able to get a lot of damage done in this mid lane. We can see Huanfeng and Yao Yao punishing in bot as well because Wink started to roam up. IG figured that dive was coming. You could see it because Dove had already started to move very early on. But doesn't matter, even though You Should Know Me is able to flash the Cocoon, the knockup from Hoya is enough to get it done, flashing all the way out. And
I was really hoping we'd get a replay of
me
the CC chain, because that was the best part in my mind. But hey, 1-0 TT. Great little start for our underdogs. Over 1,000 gold lead as well.
They have Herald in pocket, so we know they're going to be looking to use that. They've already found 2 plates in the mid lane, so that'd be a very easy option if they wanted to look to break that down. But they're finding plates across the board. So I feel like TT right now having a tremendous amount of choice. I'd still love to see it used in mid and kind of free up Ucal a little bit more, make Dove play even further back in lane, which makes it even harder to find those realm warp opportunities. To keep our eyes on where they go is Hoya actually already already picking up his first item as well.
Yeah, doing very, very well. Jack Show in there. He's going to be tanky as all hell. Honestly, there's not much chance YSKM is killing that Sion anytime soon. I just want to mention as well, like, this IG roster coming in this year, like, a lot of changes, right? A lot of new players stepping in. Arn and Wink previously having experience on IG, but they're not like the classic IG players that you think of. This is very much a new look for IG. But I will say, if there's one classic IG thing that they could do, it would be lose to the team at the very bottom of the table after looking dominant for the first 2 weeks of LPL.
That would, yeah.
That would live up to the reputation.
It would. It would. You know, if I feel like there's like a lot of different ways you can live up to the IGs of past.
Yeah.
Come like top 3 in the regular season, and then somehow bomb out to a team like 2020 LGD in both playoffs and regionals.
Yeah.
That's another one that sticks very potently in my mind.
It sticks a little too hard. I wish it would go. I wish that one would leave. Here we go, Herald in the mid lane. Dove going to try and defend here. I don't think they can over push on this one, but should be able to in this game. Those plates, Dove getting a bit of damage down onto Yao Yao. Forces both summoners there. Gideon getting a root on top of it as well. With Drake coming up in just 35 seconds.
So doing a nice job of setting up for a potentially easy target in Yao Yao in this fight. Beichuan also doesn't have his flash. IG having pretty much all summoners up. You should know he doesn't have that flash available, but you don't really expect him to be involved in any fight that would come out so far. Seems like IG now waiting for On to be able to answer this wave in bot side before they do go for any potential lean up. But they've already achieved their mission. Get some wards down, make sure you spawn out TT coming in. And now, engage.
Root comes down, Gideon tries to re-engage him, but it's not really going to work the repel. It's going to be enough to keep Beichuan safe. The curtain call, not doing a whole lot for the time being. Looking for a fourth shot here, waiting for that perfect moment. Dove has to stand in the circle so he gets his fourth shot. Hoya in from the side, just driving by everyone. It's a scouting. He just wanted to see where they were, that was all.
Did push them all back. Aaron teased the dragon going over for TT. And I was going to say, what this impacts is that top lane situation, letting Yushinomi in, but IG, knowing Ucal left, they want to go for this.
Wait, Gideon's just going to be able to smite this. Beichuan's so low on HP. Hoya trying to tank up on the front line here. It's not that tanky just yet. I say that, actually. It's been tanking 4 people for quite a while. Wink takes a chunk, but Gideon is here. This should be smited. Now we have IG taking themselves a Drake, and I love how hotly contested everything is this game.
With Ucal TPing up, he's a large chunk of their damage at this point in time. That's why IG felt comfortable pulling the trigger. Still, Ucal gets another plate under his belt. I feel like TT should be completely fine with just getting some more gold on their key carries so they can look to take the next one.
I do feel like we have a small opportunity. Hang on, Yao Yao is just going to die. There wasn't even any CC. He just took too much damage. His health bar hit 0. Nightmare in the bottom lane for TT. And, you know, Arnold take 300 gold any day of the week.
And this comes from when we had that action in mid lane and he was forced to use those summoners earlier on. Is paying for it right now. So for the side of IG, even though we've seen, like Ucal find a CS lead in the mid lane, Yushinomi hasn't been able to find advantage of the top side. Their bot lane has been faring just fine so far.
Thought Dove was going to be in trouble there, but Hoya didn't have his ultimate available. It's just going to be the tower taking out.
And we're getting to a point where a lot of our key items are being picked up. Rod of Ages now finished for Dove. On just picking up his mythic as well. Ghost Blade just now coming out for Huanfeng, so we're hitting a lot of these earlier power spikes in the game that can set up for this second Rift Herald to mean a lot.
Oh, flash for flash here between the junglers and the Ucal. Just jumping into the pool. Just want a little swim in the river, that's all. Don't worry about it. Massive wave crashed up the top side. Ucal's going to be heading over to try and grab that one for himself. And this feels tense. It feels real tense, Jordan, but at the end of the day, it's slowly but surely becoming a TT win here. They're 3,000 gold up as Dove. I mean, the thing is when you build Sion as a tank, you don't take damage, but you also don't really do damage either.
No, but you know, he shows his.
What does he show? Larry?
Yeah, you know, a lot of the words that come to mind, I'm like, you know, he ain't showing that. He shows he's the big man on the ring. That's what he
He
shows.
shows non-broadcast appropriate things to Dove down in the bottom side. Here we go.
No.
He's showing non-broadcast appropriate things to Gideon in the river as well. The curtain call doing a lot of work as Huanfeng grabs himself the kill. It's TT. This should be their Herald.
Yeah, they'll be able to pick up this one. We're going to see now if IG can try and find something back on the opposite side of the map. Dove is running there now. Maybe get that wave pushed in, put some pressure in on mid, and will pull some members of TT away. And I feel like this is when IG should be angling to get some more vision control set up on this bottom half. The map is on. They'll be able to get away just fine.
Yeah, shield coming in huge there, blocking the route from Yao Yao. But Ucal will be able to finish tier 1 up in the top side. Dove trying to trade it in the bottom lane. I can't quite see how much health that tower has, but it does feel like TT are the team in control of this game so far. Really well played by them to completely turn around what we've been seeing from them in the LPL.
Yeah, it's great. Again, different composition coming out. We're going to see in this replay. They had earlier on gotten Gideon's flash when Beichuan went for the flash cocoon, and this time around they're going to take advantage of it. Hoya just able to close so much distance with that ultimate, and Beichuan waiting in the wings to be able to join through. But I love that you highlight the advantage that TT have found in how they're doing in this game, because even as we project forward, we kind of talked about earlier how they have DPS, they have burst, they have a front line. They also just take any neutral incredibly fast. Like if IG make one misstep, whether it's one of them getting picked off, or even just maybe too many members hover down towards the bot side when Baron's up, you have 3 marksmen. Baron would go down so quickly. You can take turrets so fast, as we saw Ucal doing that top side. So IG don't have a lot of wiggle room in terms of their missteps.
No, 0 wiggling for IG. We don't want to see a single wiggle this game. I'm going to be able to grab his red buff. I thought there was going to be more of a contest there, but it looks like Beichuan moving down to this bottom side. Has that Herald still in his back pocket, so that'll be slammed down. I'm not sure Ucal really needed the Herald. Maybe the jungle presence would have been enough. That is a Tristana we're talking about. And in fact, the Herald won't even charge. But now Yao Yao trying to turn away. It's only Dove here on the bottom side of the map.
I'll say IG going to look for this play on the top side, but how much can you get done against Hoya? I guess leaning multiple members up, maybe you'll be able to push him back, but I mean, Herald now getting that tier 2 down on the bot side. Huanfeng feeling confident in mid. IG finally going to try and trade for that tier 1.
Yeah, and a dragon on top of it for TT. This is really not worth it for the side of IG unless they can get something more than just this tier 1. You lost 2 towers in the bottom lane, and now a dragon as well. I mean, TT, this is a macro masterclass.
It's just so nice to see as a team we were highlighting that we expected more from than a 0-2 start to their LPL split. Even if they aren't expected to, you know, maybe outright win the league, they are expected to be one of our, at least our middle to upper echelon teams is Ucal and Dove.
Yeah, Ucal exhausted, but he's got a Kraken Slayer. He doesn't care about exhaust. Ucal solo bolo down to the bottom side against Dove.
The blind pick Tristana comes in, and Ucal, fearing no one. I mean, he's been the largest catalyst in my mind of the success that they found in this game so far, what he was able to do in that mid lane matchup, how he's just been taking turrets in the side lane. And now going to extend that even further just with a great play down at bot. I don't know how much outplay is really there. Comes in from Fog of War, gets the rocket jump behind. Didn't even need to utilize the ultimate until the very end to be able to pick that one up and still able to rocket jump away with some style.
Yeah, really nicely done there. And what a transformation Ucal has had over the last sort of 12 months, right? Like a year ago, he was a player that I don't think anyone had much faith in. He really developed last year, and now showing it once again in 2023. And I just want to quickly mention, he's been on over 200 CS since 18 minutes. Like, it's not just the kills, he's dominating in terms of controlling the map and getting this way.
I think especially just thinking back to his like earlier days in the LCK where he was incredibly good, incredibly hyped up. It was pretty sad to see his start to his LPL tenure where not the best Twisted Fate plays coming in some of those earlier games.
It was the Corki that really sold it
yeah,
for me.
The Corki. Not the best package uses coming on through, but hey, that's a lot of players.
You know, me and Orcs were casting Ucal. I feel bad bringing this up, but I think it's funny, so I'm going to say it anyway. He, multiple times in one series, Valkyried into a fight and then flashed back out again. And we decided that that was now the Ucal. That's what we named that play. In the meantime, IG's been taken apart. TT literally destroying them. The TP denied though, but can you actually kill this guy? He's just gonna jump at wing. Okay, YSKM's there to put it.
He might go down, but I love on the back end of your story, he just finds another solo kill on the jump. As TT now gonna try and rush this one down. They still have a tremendous amount of damage, as we can see. IG aren't making their way over as 2 members are down, and even without Ucal, looks like this should be enough.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Gideon who's one of the players that got chunked out massively by Ucal when they were trying to bring him down. So Ucal just buying time for the team. TT, a 21-minute Baron on the cards. Great macro at the bottom side earlier. This is all feeling fantastic.
Once again, just playing a little bit out of Fog of War. They have the ward there to spot out on. Chains of Corruption comes out of nowhere, able to finish it off. Yeah, right as Munch was doing our boy Ucal dirty, he decides once again he has to show his stuff.
I wasn't doing him dirty. I was explaining to the audience how far this player has come. That's...
Yeah, his stint in the LPL.
It's looking good right now.
Very up and down.
Well, it was down and then up.
Yeah, true.
It's been an upward trajectory.
It's been pretty great.
Yeah.
As TT now.
Next year, he's with Worlds. That's all I'm saying.
If they can hold this momentum, like, this looks like a game that TT should win, in my mind. Again, very squishy comp on the side of IG. You just have all the tools necessary. I don't really think IG have many ways of bringing this back. Like, maybe trying to divert Ryze and Jayce to a similar lane to find picks, but that won't bring you all too much. So TT, just keep doing what you're doing. Then the question is what they have up their sleeves for a game 2, and if they can not only find a series win, but find a series win over a team that hasn't dropped a game.
Yeah, I mean, this would be an absolute... Even just the game win is already huge for both teams, right? It's the first loss for IG. It's the first win for TT. But like you say, if TT can get that series on the board, like, it means so much to get your first win in the LPL. And especially if they have 2 games like this, if they were able to 2-0 IG, if they were able to... Even if it goes 3 games, even if it's not as clean as this first game, if they can look good across the course of the series, it's a massive, massive step up for TT.
I agree. I mean, I'm already so impressed. The draft coming out was, again, we were asking questions in draft of like, hey, what's going where, what's going to happen? And then we come on in and things are pulled together. It's nice to see us. I'm not really too sure what's going on.
I don't know if what's happening on our screen is happening on your guys' at home screens, but it was kind of Looney Tunes-esque for a second there.
My guess is no. And this is, I guess, one of the great things of being in a remote broadcast is that when there's like a pause like this and we've fallen a bit behind, production can just be like, oh, there's a pause? No, there isn't.
Yeah, true. Well, you know, for anyone at home that didn't see what we saw, basically we just got player counts, but super fast forwarded, and it was wacky to say the least. Here we go. 43,000 gold for TT up against the 36 there of IG, and Drake going up in 30 seconds. TT with 2 already, and honestly, it doesn't feel like this is a time at which IG can fight.
Oh, I also want to say,
items on the Sivir,
I did find out why we had the pause. You cannot buy Jack Show and Frozen Heart. It's been banned by the league. Hoya did ban that, and they had to like bring back the game, and he had to, you know, cancel the purchase or sell the item.
Well, that is the fastest like item-based ruling I've ever seen in League of Legends. Gideon taking a huge amount of damage, but most importantly, zoned away from the Dragon. Nicely done by Ucal and Hoya to keep this IG squad away. Dragon's still going on, though. Gideon trying to get in here as Hoya chunked out himself, will go down.
Whoa.
Dragon, no, he didn't go down. He got over the wall. I can't believe he got out of that one.
I also want to know what's that huge burst of damage to all the members of IG at the end. Hoya, though, you just don't have the firing power from IG to be able to bring him down at this point, Ucal. Oh no. Oh no, much.
This doesn't look good, but then there's a TP coming in, and the Buster shot's kind of clean, actually. Ucal goes down, but at what cost? IG trying to find this one out, and Hoya left alone. The rest of TT decide this ain't their fight, unless they come in from the top side now and knock them across the team. It's a couple of arrows fired in, but it ain't really enough to fight it. As down go the solo laners of TT. IG finding themselves some kind of consolation.
Ucal's overzealousness being punished this time around, and sadly bringing the other members of TT into it with him. Still, no real neutral objectives up on the map, right? No Dragon, no Baron, so IG can't turn that into anything. And no tier 1 turrets left up on sides that they can look to take either way. And TT doing a nice job of getting mid lane pushed out there is, you should know me. Now might be the one who gets punished himself.
I don't know if they know him, but they know where he is, and that's more important sometimes. The ward coming on out there's a Varus ulti. The roots will last forever. Beichuan even repels the accelerated shock blast. Boy, did they know him.
Yeah.
I'm just going to see how many of that joke I can squeeze into this podcast.
Please
Get it out of the system. Ucal's caught again. It's not ideal. Rooted up, taken down. Tristana, when he can't jump, not the tankiest champion.
No, I guess he had just jumped in right as we had come to the mid lane. Even right next to his turret, just had nothing he's able to do. And mistakes like this are what's going to give IG an avenue back into this game. As now they're angling in mid, but it's just gone.
Yes, he is. Yes, he absolutely is. I mean, that's the one thing. Yes, IG getting some picks. They're still 7,000 gold down in a 4v5. Honestly, I'm favoring TT at this point, as they are just completely in control of this map. Now can look towards this mid lane. A lot of the wave clear is gone for the side of IG. TT already got that tier 2 very low previously.
Yeah, they should be able to pick up this one. Ucal's going to be up soon, so we can answer the wave on bot side that Dove is pushing in right now. So Dove should realistically look to back off. And with Baron coming up in about 45 seconds, keep up your vision line on that top side to play for that objective. Because we're going to see here, it's actually IG the ones angling to pick up this short mid. They have a pinch on both sides, but Beichuan finds the cocoon. They have the curtain call coming out, and On just instantly deleted. So IG's pincer movement not able to come out. Just honestly, the amount of burst on the side of TT and how well they're hitting these like CC skill shots to guarantee the picks has been phenomenal.
Beautiful so far. What are you giggling at?
Because earlier on, it was like, Ucal is who got us to this point in the game. Ucal, in my mind, was a clear MVP. With the missteps coming out from him, it really feels like Beichuan now. The big performer in my mind.
Yeah, I can agree with that. The damage coming down onto Gideon. It does feel like the focus has been on Gideon across the course of this mid game, trying to, if not pick him, then just zone him away from plays. But Huanfeng takes a chunk from On himself. Wave will just be cleared. IG starting to get stronger, that's for sure. Sivir getting close to the 3 items. You got, I mean, he's had the Rod of Ages for ages. So 10 stacks at this point.
It's very big and playing around. I think you're going to be playing around a lot of like these 5v5s like we're seeing, but kind of kiting out the front line of TT. Hoya, I mean, if he opts to use the ultimate, right, there's nothing you can do about that, but you saw there having things like the Jayce throughout the accelerated shock blast, and On using his ultimate to skirt around the fight. Is Beichuan now?
The jungle a 1v1 between these two here. Beichuan knocks up. Hoya just flattens Gideon into the floor. Now a knock-up coming on through. Dove's in trouble. The bomb on top of his head, but he flashes away. The jump from Ucal to follow. Exhaust ruins the play for him. Can he get the reset though? Buster shot to keep himself alive. He gets the reset finally down, but it won't matter. Beichuan to finish the fight, and TT find yet another win.
And IG were the ones who opted into that with Gideon looking for that 1v1. They bring Dove over with the Realm Warp. It is going to turn into another Baron for the side of TT. They should pick this one up, no problem. Dragon's coming up in less than 30 seconds. TT are going to be able to get everything on the map.
Yeah, TT taking control of this game. This will be Soul with that Drake. It's beautiful to see. The resets are going to come on through before they head over to the Dragon Pit, but to be honest, with the Baron buff, they should have complete control. We'll start again with this jungle 1v1.
Gideon doesn't end up getting cocooned, uses that twisted advance to dodge out, and they're hoping to find a pick onto Beichuan here, but the members of TT are not only so close, but you have 2 sources of long-range engage coming out with the Sion and the Jhin, allowing for him to follow up so easily. Dove is now overcommitted from the fact that he tried to come into this play. They're able to keep it going with members like Ucal jumping forward. And even if Ucal is in a compromised position here, you bait the other members of IG to come in, which just sets up for TT to get more kills.
So far, so good. TT looking poised for their first win here in the LPL. And with the Dragon Soul, it only gets easier.
Yeah, TT, it just feels like I mean, they win in 5v5s. IG haven't wanted to opt into side laning because of how strong Ucal is. Sure, you'll win up, you'll be able to push in Hoya, but it doesn't really mean anything if you aren't threatening a turret. You know, this massive Tristana on the opposing side. So it really feels like any lane assignment or formation that IG goes for, TT just win out at the end of the day. And with all the power they have now, it's going to be so easy for them to play out through this 2-lane setup.
Yeah. And with 380 carries on your team as well, the second you misstep as IG, the second you're not protecting a tower, it's gone. It's going to be gone in literal split seconds. So, it feels pretty good to be a TT fan. I know Kelsey Moser, actually I think that is the only TT fan, but she's going to be feeling good.
Is she still a TT fan?
Well, that's the question.
You know, that's...
Everyone tweet at her.
That's what I want.
At K. Aaron Moser, are you still a TT fan? We'll have to find out. But the siege continues here, and I mean, it is feeling a bit of a done deal so far, unless IG can pull out some kind of miracle. But honestly, this split so far for IG has been somewhat miraculous. If there's a team right now in the LPL I could believe in miracles for, it's this squad right here.
100%. IG so far. I mean, it's not wrong to say that they've been the most exciting team in the LPL in these first few weeks. Not only in terms of just the antics coming out on stage and how they play the game, but also just the fact that they've been picking up wins, honestly, dominantly. It hasn't even been like these big back and forth clown fiestas as IG get into the driver's seat. They're there the whole time. TT, though, could have kicked them right out of that driver's seat.
I suppose this is a great question to be asking this IG squad, right? What happens when you're not in the lead? What happens when you haven't dominated your lanes and you fall behind in the early game? What else do you have up your sleeves? Because like you say, we have seen domination from them. See you later on. That's what, his second, third solo kill this game?
It keeps happening to on. They just keep fighting him. Just not even really too far forward. I guess it is too. Oh.
Here we go. Gideon
Hoya.
knocked up. Wink is going to be taken down as well. The resets come on through, but Ucal knocked up. He's got a GA. He'll be okay on this one. Dove dodges the route, but won't go down for the time being. They found their way into the base, though. TT without a casualty. Take out the IG bottom lane, and that minion wave is looking to be protected. They want to break open this Nexus right here and now. Half health on the tower, 380 carries to make it happen. Knockup's coming on through. Is Gideon one last ditch engage? It ain't gonna happen. The health bars are low, but they ain't low enough. Dove will go down, and that will be game. TT make their way onto the scoreboard in the LPL.
TT delivering IG their first game loss of 2023. Great to see from them. Very cool pick band coming out. Gave them a lot of strength and priority in that early game. But as we kept touching on, they still had a front line. They still had DPS as the game went later on. They didn't have to worry about any kind of tank like absorbing their lack of mixed damage really coming on through. A lot of that heavy lifting would have been had to be on Beichuan. And the game just got to such a point that I was just hitting on kind of maybe a little bit walking too far forward. The problem is that point in the game, too far forward is like 2 clicks in front of your turret.
You're in him, yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
it was already done.
Yeah, it was, that was brutal, honestly, for
Yeah.
TT. Great to see that TT are bringing that kind of thing to the table. But again, I want to reiterate something we mentioned during that cast. Like, what do IG do when they fall behind? This draft from TT doing such a good job to mitigate the win conditions we've seen from IG so far. Like, YSKM having a massive lead coming out of the top lane. Dove being shut down in the mid lane here by Ucal. Like, where do IG pivot from here is a huge question.
I agree, and I especially love the tank up in the top side.
Yeah.
Because if you're bringing this down to like volatile matchup versus volatile matchup, we've seen YSKM. I mean, he's delivering on all fronts. Even if he falls down to that 1 HP mark, he's going to outplay the crazy Irelia the other day. But when you're up against something that doesn't really care to fight you, can just shrug off any damage or any play you go for, is he still going to be able to take over a game the same way? At least our answer right here is no, but I like they're pointing out the other factors as well, because Ucal, as we highlighted, took over. Beichuan had a fantastic game, and Huanfeng and Yao didn't really take any punishment down in that bot lane. They picked the Jhin into the Heimer, so they matched push with push, and yeah, IG weren't able to find any opening into the game.
No, IG kind of getting destroyed, it has to be said. And I like that the Sion as well gives you that hard engage that quite often it feels a lot of teams are lacking because we're so used to having supports on Nautilus every single game. Now that we're seeing things like Jhin support come into the meta, having that Sion kind of gives you that same tool regardless. We're going to jump into a break, and then we'll find out what this hyped up IG squad have in the tank. I want to see them take it to